25 to 33% of school children report having been bullied, the highest incidence happening during middle school. So what can we do to help stop it? Well, we have Ken Dolan-Del, author, family therapist, health and wellness executive here to help us with some ideas. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Great to be here, and I'm glad we're talking about this topic because the more we talk about it, the more we're able to understand it and to help.
I think right off the bat we need to define bullying because I think, for us 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's what you see in the hallways in school. It's pushing each other, it's a group of people ganging up on one other person, but it's grown into so much more than that right now.
So the way you want to think about bullying is that it is the repeated, intentional, aggressive behavior of a person toward a person who has less power than them. So it's repeated, it's aggressive, and it's about power. And the objective is to hurt, demean, control the other person.
What I think is so tough, especially right now in the world that we're living in, when I was a kid, I used to say I got bullied at school. I mean, everyone has been bullied, whether it's from a sibling or from a friend, something like that. You go to school, something happens at school, but you come home, you get to be in your safe haven with your parents, your siblings, things like that. But now, in the society that we're living in, you can't escape it anymore. It's literally everywhere, from when you go to school and then when you come home. If you go on social media, I mean, the amount of negativity that people are able to say behind a screen is just so prevalent.
The anonymity, the willingness to say things that you probably wouldn't even say face to face, and as you said, the fact that it just stays there. It stays there, and everybody who's in your network can see it, so you feel exposed not only to the bully but to everybody in your community.
One thing that you mentioned is that the target is seen in a different light to other people. So say I'm bullying you. To you, I'm a bully. To my family and my friends, I'm a nice person.
People who bully have an exquisite sense of power.
They're like actors.
And they know when they're in a place with people who they have more power than. And they know when they're with people who are not going to stand for it. And so to people who are not the target, they might look like the most wonderful human being in the world. It's very much like domestic violence or intimate partner violence, which is sort of like a subset of bullying. The people who commit domestic violence often are the pillars of community, but it's within their sphere of control, within their home, or when they're all alone with the person who they target, that they do their abusive behavior.
And as you said before, domestic violence is not just, a man beats his wife or a woman beats her husband. It's so much more than that. It's verbal, it's behavioral, it's so much more than just aggressive.
It's controlling the finances, it's controlling the children, it's all kinds of intimidation. So all of what you mentioned, and the physical assaults, that's just the most extreme form.
Now, lastly, I want to talk about what we can do about this, how we can make a difference, especially in our children's lives. We have a list of things that I want to go through. We have about a minute left. I want to talk about listening and believing it.
So important that it be taken seriously, that you listen to your child, that you believe what they have to say, that you validate how painful this is. If you've ever had the experience of being bullied yourself, talk about that because it'll make them feel less alone. It's important to tell them that it's not their fault. They didn't do anything to bring this on. It's all about the other person. Then you talk about who is a safe person in school. Is it your teacher? Is it your teacher maybe and a guidance counselor? And then you assure them that the way to solve this is not through their efforts alone, that it's going to be really important for you to talk to those safe people and to help them, to help your child to feel safe.
Whether it's a safe person, your sister or brother, your parents, or, any other resources out there, I think it's the most important part for people to realize is that they're not alone in this situation. There are so many different resources out there.
And one thing that's really important to think about is the best way to address bullying is to create a culture of respect in the school, in your workplace, because it happens as much in our workplaces.
It really does.
Prevention goes a very long way here.
And we could go an entire hour talking about the different places that bullying happens, but I want to thank you so much for coming in, because this is a topic that is uncomfortable to talk about for some people, and some people feel alone, but the fact that you're able to come and talk about this is just so great.
If it's mentionable, it's manageable. That's what Mr. Rogers said a long time ago.
And we will leave it at that. But I want everyone to know, just in case you are going through domestic violence or anything like that, they have a domestic violence hotline. It's a great source of help. All you have to do is call 800-799-7233, and that is available 24/7, 365 days a year.